Hey guys, what is up? Akira here and welcome back to another video. Yo, I just want to say thank you so much for the support lately. And with the support, we are back with another tier list because I know you guys have been loving these tier lists lately. And today we are going to be doing Targaryen kings throughout Westeros history. I'm going to be basing off the tier list over a few things, but mainly two things. So that will be how good they were as kings and how they were really as people as well. You know, you've got to like take in some personality into that effect. But a tiny bit will also include a bit of bias, but that's just going to be a tiny bit. I can't let that affect the result much. Yeah, let's get straight into this. If you guys want to see other tier lists of other kind of topics on House of the Dragon / Game of Thrones / A Song of Ice and Fire, let me know. I could do a tier list for the best fighters. I could do a tier list for Game of Thrones characters. I could do a tier list for anything. Anything. But, guys, let's get straight into this video with the first person on this tier list. So the first person on this list, we have Jaehaerys, the Conciliator, I think it is called, or Conciliator. Yo, ignore my butchering. Okay, so this guy, King Jaehaerys, he's the one obviously we saw in House of the Dragon at the start, just before Viserys. He is arguably the best king for Targaryen history, like maybe even the best king in Westeros history. He basically united the 7 kingdoms. There doesn't need to be much said about King Jaehaerys. What's crazy is these guys had like 13 children, which is insane. You'd think there'd be a lot of problems coming up with that, but no, King Jaehaerys was just an awesome king, and he goes straight into S tier. Let's go. First S tier. Next, we have Aegon III, who's also Daemon and Rhaenyra's son. This is spoilers for House of the Dragon. If anyone doesn't know what's going to happen in the story, honestly, just skip this part. So Aegon III, basically, he saw Rhaenyra get killed and eaten by Sunfire, and that affected him massively. He was a silent, brooding king. He didn't really talk much. He didn't really care for the dragons much anymore. It was arguable that he basically started the stunt growth of the dragons, because Rhaenyra, he was still scarred by Rhaenyra being eaten. But he was also said to be like way older than he actually looked as well. But honestly, I don't think he was that great of a king. So I'm going to put him into C tier. He's very close to being into D tier, but I think there are like kings that are just reserved for that spot. Next we have Aegon II, who's also nicknamed the Usurper for obvious reasons. So Aegon, if you guys know, obviously he's the one in House of the Dragon right now. His claim and Rhaenyra's claim obviously got a lot of people killed. It affected House Targaryen massively. Like, House Targaryen basically became just nowhere near as it was before the Dance of the Dragons. So Aegon II, I'm sorry, he's going to have to go to D tier, and I think that's a pretty obvious kind of pick. Okay, next we have Aegon the Conqueror, who basically started the Targaryen dynasty. Wow, that's all that needs to be said. This man conquered the 7 kingdoms. Now, he could be an A character, like he could definitely be an A, but this guy started the Targaryen dynasty and he conquered the 7 kingdoms. Literally, the only kind of kingdom that couldn't really conquer was Dawn. But apart from that, him and his sister and his wife, yo, these guys just went, they showed that dragons were the only thing you really needed to dominate the 7 kingdoms. Yeah, Aegon the Conqueror is a straight up S tier. Next we have Aegon IV, also known as Aegon the Unworthy, basically the biggest piece of shit king that there is in this goddamn universe. You guys thought the Mad King was bad? This guy is worse, bro. The Mad King did the shit he did out of madness. The Mad King was a horrible king, but Aegon IV, the Unworthy, this obese piece of shit. I'm sorry, he's just a piece of shit. I know it's all fiction, but he's a piece of shit. He is a piece of shit. And Aegon IV, the Unworthy, literally, he was so fat that he was literally covered in his own feces. He couldn't move anymore. And he did bad things out of spite. He was just a bad king. Yeah, he can go into detail. It's not even close. So next we have Aegon V, also known as Egg. He will basically be in the Duncan Egg show, of course, the Night of the 7 Kingdoms that is releasing very soon. He's basically the brother of Maester Aemon, who was in Game of Thrones right here, who will also be appearing in A Night of the 7 Kingdoms. Anyway, let's get back to Egg as a king. Egg as a king was basically not expected to be a king. He was like the 4th child, if I'm not mistaken. He should have not been king. He was actually known as a very good, peaceful king. People liked him. He wasn't amazing, but he definitely deserves to go into that B tier spot. Maybe even A, depending. Just depends on how you feel as him, like how you would see him as a king. Maybe he just needed to be a bit more, you know what I mean? They need that pizzazz, like Jaehaerys had, basically. And I think that definitely would have taken him up. Next, we have Aenys I, also a king that I just don't think was that amazing. He wasn't a great king, let's be honest. It was like 4 conflicts, I think, or 3-4 conflicts that basically are like uprise during his reign, which just shows that he was not a good king. That's not something you want to have on your record as a king. He also only reigned for 5 years. He was not really remembered, you know, to do something amazing. And yeah, sorry, Aenys, you gotta go into, I think I might have to put you into D tier. Damn. Next, we have Aerys II, also known as the Mad King. Game of Thrones watchers will know so much about the Mad King. Basically, the father of Daenerys, Rhaegar, and Viserys. He was literally just an insane king. He killed people out of madness. He killed Ned Stark's brother and father. Which was just crazy out of madness, just because they wanted to go see where their sister was. Literally had to get killed by Jaime Lannister, which is someone who was basically devoted to him, and he was his Kingsguard. So yeah, there doesn't need to be anything said about that guy. He can go into detail. Next, we have Aerys the First. Aerys the First, he was basically in the middle. He was in the middle. The thing is, Aerys had a bit of unlucky, like, he did have an unlucky reign, basically, because at the start of his reign, there was a plague going throughout Westeros, and it obviously created a lot of tension, a lot of problems for him. Obviously, also, that alias that was Bloodraven, and that obviously did help him a lot with the conflicts, being able to foresee what was coming and be able to prevent. But I feel like with what he had, he could have done so much more as a king. I feel like there could have been so much more potential that he could have done. He could have been one of the best kings easily because of what happened. But he did have a very unlucky time with his reign. So I'm going to put Aerys into B tier. Next, we have Baelor the Blessed. Yo, I'm going to say I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of Baelor the Blessed. The Sept of Baelor obviously got created as well. I think one of the first things he did as king, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I swear he walked like barefoot from one side of Westeros to the other. I might be completely wrong there. He came in with all this religious, I'm not saying like there's anything wrong with religion, and the way he tried to put it onto the people of King's Landing, it was almost like the High Sparrow was kind of forcing it. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that. Yo, honestly, this is gonna be considered maybe wrong. Next, we have another king who I thought was an awesome king. I think he's a very good king. It's Daeron the Good, Daeron II. Basically, one of the most peaceful kings that they've had. He did also unite all the 7 kingdoms again, and he also created something that they thought could never be done. Peace with Dawn! Like, yo. Now, he was obviously involved a lot with the Blackfire Rebellion as well, but honestly, he was a good king. He was a good king. There was nothing wrong with him. I feel like, obviously, he's just close to being in that S tier, so personally, I'm going to put him into A tier. Yeah, Daeron the Good. People like him. So next we have Daeron the First, basically, you know, the first of his name, just compared to Daeron the Second, that's just gone. I don't think he was a good king. He basically invaded Dawn. See, that's the difference between Daeron the First and Daeron the Second. You can see, one was trying to actually create peace with Dawn and united the 7 kingdoms. Daeron the Young Dragon, he invaded them, bro. Like, the problem is, I think as a king, you need to try and create some uniteness, and he was a very aggressive person. I don't know, he's called the Young Dragon for a reason, you know? He kind of wants to show that, yo, look at me, I'm the dragon. He kind of reminds me of Viserys, Daenerys' brother, in a small sense. But I do think he is a better character. He's more bold, he's more, you know, confident, he's got more charisma, basically. But as a king, I don't think he was great. I would put him into C tier. I don't think he's in that D tier spot. That's only reserved for bastards and just not good kings. Next, we have Jaehaerys II. Now, compared to Jaehaerys I, Jaehaerys II is just not as good, man. He doesn't live up to the name. He doesn't. He was not a good king. He also, like, this was arguable, but he wrote off his predecessor's kind of work for what he did to the realm. And also, I think all the work that Aegon V did, I think he kind of fucked that up, in my opinion. I think he actually brought a lot more problems than good to the realm. I do think he was one of the worst kings, but he wasn't out of pure spite and evil. But he was also a clever man, but he just didn't use it well. And just for that reason, King Jaehaerys II, you are going to go into C tier. Next, we have Maegor the Cruel. Now, he is literally known for being one of the most cruel men in Westeros, if not the most cruel. The only thing that he did that I think was good was do the Red Keep. The thing is, he had a decent reign. His reign was good. Like, he tried to enforce the kingdoms. He was actually keeping the kingdoms at bay. People didn't respect him, man. People were scared of him. They feared him. As a king, you cannot have people fear you. And the only good thing he did was create the Red Keep. That's it, bro. In my eyes, like, obviously people would say his reign was like an iron fist over everything, but in my opinion, he was just a cruel king. Would I wanted him as a king? Hell fucking no. I'm sorry, no. Maegor, you can go into detail. Next we have Maekar, I think it is, Maekar the First. Now, I don't know much about Maekar, I'll be honest myself. I only know one thing that he did, which did save the realm, which was sending Aerys away, Aerys Targaryen. He was known to be a decent king, like, kind of peaceful, but there's not enough covered on him, in my opinion, to kind of, I don't know much about him personally. People in the comment section below, let me know what you think of Maekar the First as a king. I don't know much about him, but I know he did kind of save the realm, basically. He's also not known to be very cruel or spiteful from what I've read. So yeah, for that reason, I think I'm going to put him into I think I'm going to put him into A tier. I don't think he hits the B tier. I think he's actually a bit above that. And because he saved the realm itself by sending Aerys Targaryen, he went, see ya! So, yeah, I think A tier. Like, I think that's fair. Okay, next we have Viserys II, who is also the son of Rhaenyra and Daemon, just like Aegon III was. Wow, this was actually a very surprising one. The thing is, people fail to realize how peaceful, like, Westeros was under his reign. Like, he was a good king. Like, I wish he was king for longer. He could have honestly gone straight into Esther. He could have been on the level of King Jaehaerys, I think, if he had longer to rule. He was literally trying to do trades with it through the Narrow Sea with different areas in Westeros, you know, also the world. It was crazy. Like, he was trying to bring everything together, it seemed like. I might be wrong in this. Let me know if I'm saying anything incorrect, but I'm sure Viserys II would have been an amazing king. I don't think I can put him into A tier because, I mean S tier, because his reign wasn't long enough, but I do think he can go into A tier, and I think that's very fair. And last but not least, we have the legend himself. We have Viserys Targaryen. Wow. Now, Viserys is also obviously named as Viserys the Peaceful. He actually did good for the Seven Kingdoms, but the problem is, the Dance of the Dragon started right after him, and I think as a king, he could have prevented so much of that. He could have prevented so much. Him as himself is a good king. That's the thing. The thing is, the things that came afterwards could arguably be said it was his fault. If he just solved who actually got the throne afterwards, it would have been all good, it would have been great. All of that confusion created the Dance with the Dragons, which ultimately led to the downfall of House Targaryen, which is a crazy, crazy thing, especially of how long they were in power. So Viserys, oh, it's a hard one. I think I'm going to put him into B tier. I think he could have hit that A if he actually just solved who took the throne after him. But, guys, this is the list. Let me know what you think. The Targaryen tier list. Let me know. Are you happy with it? Are you not? Obviously, I think that there's going to be a lot of upset people. But guys, remember, this is just an opinion-based tier list. And let me know in the comment section below, what do you want to see a tier list on next? I will take all considerations. We'll see what people want to see, and I'll be down to do it. But if you guys would change anything, let me know in the comment section below. If you guys did enjoy this video, please smash that like button. Please hit subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps me out more than you think. And I will catch you guys later for the next video. Peace out, guys.